Hello and a slightly warm and drizzly welcome to the channel of four-wheeled nonsense and a Renault. Because Renault, I think, is doing quite exciting things at the moment in the car world. In the past 12 months, I think they've brought out more new models than one of Anna Wintour's Haribo-fueled birthday parties. But this is the new Scenic. Now, if you're old like me, the Scenic used to be an MPV with 3 individual sliding rear seats. That was very practical for families. This is just another electric SUV, or is it? Because I've heard rumours this is actually quite good and gives good driving range for your buck. So let's get on with it. I've already jiggered the continuity of this video because I've ditched the coat and I've gone for the alphabet in the style of Mario, but whatever. This Scenic is based quite closely on the new Megane, which is also an electric SUV. The Megane is no longer a thing that can be turned into amazing hot hatches with plastic windows and things like that and be seen on Evo track days. It's an electric SUV. This is the same, but it's got 10 centimetres more space in the back. So this is the one for families, and it's currently Renault's flagship EV, although that's probably going to change soon in the next 10 seconds probably. But anyway, one of these, £37,500, that gets you the entry-level 60 kilowatt hour battery with 170 horsepower. I think that one will do 260 miles on a charge. You probably want to spend an extra £3,500 to get the long range version like this. It's got an 87 kilowatt hour battery, much bigger. It can do 370 miles on a charge on paper, and it costs from about 42 grand. This is a press car's top spec iconic version, 47 grand. I don't think that's too bad. 47 grand fully kitted out with about £1,000 of optional midnight blue paint for a car that can do 370 miles on a charge and doesn't need any more options. But anyway, yeah, apart from this paint, which is an option, but it is quite nice. And I think this car looks pretty blooming good for an SUV. It looks very modern, looks very striking. And if I unlock it and lock it using the annoying plastic credit card key that Renault persists on using, I absolutely hate these things, but whatever. These light up, these daytime running lights, and my other half thinks it looks a bit like a magpie's wing, because apparently magpies are actually blue, not black. I didn't know that. There's some blue iridescence in their wings. But I'm waffling. LED headlights as standard. It looks nice. You've got some kind of diamond shapes repeated across the grille, obviously to match the Renault badge. I quite like it. I think it looks quite smart. But what do you think? Tell me down in the comments using your most aggressive French verbiage. At 4.47 metres long, this is about the same size as a Nissan Qashqai. A Skoda Enyaq competes against this in terms of price, but is actually a fair bit longer. This is going to be the same size as Skoda's new Elroq, which comes out in a couple of months, and which I definitely haven't already fit under. But yeah, it is a nice size for family living. This one's on 20-inch wheels. It's 19s on entry-level techno models. We should talk about the electricityness as well, because it can charge up to, I think, 150 kilowatts on a fast charger. The smaller battery, the cheaper version, charges at 130, I think. But yes, it can charge quite quickly. It's what you need to know. You also need to know it gets a heat pump as standard. So in cold British winters, you shouldn't lose too much of that precious range. And I think one of the reasons 370 miles from an 87 kilowatt hour battery is really doable in this car is because it doesn't weigh that much for an EV. I had to double check this. This only weighs 1.85 tons, or take 100 kilos off that if you get the smaller battery. That's basically what I just ate in Pizza Express half an hour ago before coming on camera. It's pretty light for an EV. It's pretty light, and it's got quite pretty lights, I guess, around the bum. It's not quite as stylish as the front of the car, but you've got lots of like jutty out bits for aerodynamics there. The boot is quite big. It's quite beepy as well. It's a 545 litre space. It's quite deep that way, and under the boot floor, there's a coffin. There's a coffin for your wires. It goes almost as deep as the frunk in a Porsche Boxster. And if you're into your mid-engine drop-top German sports cars, you'll know how deep those are. But yeah, the only car that's really got a bigger boot in this class is the Enyaq. And as I said, that is longer as well. So that is slightly cheaty. That's 585 litres. But yeah, for family duties, that's a colossal space. It's really good. And as you'll see in a minute when I get into the back seats, this has got a really clever ski hatch thing if you want to poke things through into the cabin. But yeah, got the electric boot on this. It looks all right, I think. The Scenic logo is all kind of jutty and square letters. It looks a bit like classic 90s PC game Deus Ex. If you've ever played that, if you have, we can be friends. I said Deus Ex, not Day of Sex. That's Friday. Oh, it's been a while since I've driven a Renault, and they didn't used to look like this inside. This is a very, very nice cabin, though instead of Alcantara everywhere, you've got this material, which is nice, but it does remind me of my old geography teacher's jacket, but without elbow patches. But whatever, it's nice in here, and that looks like wood on the door, but it's actually a kind of pixelated plastic. I don't really know how to describe it. Steering wheel is a squircle. We love squircles, don't we? I don't know if we do, but it's all right. It's got some proper buttons on it for things like the cruise control, driving modes and all that jazz. You've got a big digital dashboard, which is very bright and colourful, and it's easy to see how many miles per kilowatt hour you're getting and the speed limit and all that good stuff. And actually, speaking of speed limits, you know what's coming. You know it's a model year 2024 car, so it's going to bong at you like, no, I'm not going to make the Snoop Dogg joke, but it's going to bong at you a lot if you speed. But there is a physical button down there which you can put it into your personalized safety mode, which turns off all of the nannies. Excellent. You've got a big portrait infotainment screen there. It's actually really good. It's got Google Assistant built in. It's got Google Maps built in. It's just like a Polestar. I like that, especially because you can log into your Google account and get your personal history up there. It's got CarPlay. Sorry, I'm going to jerk the camera and show you. There you go. It's got full screen CarPlay. Really good. The speaker system as well in this top spec one is by Carmen Hardon, so it's really good. You've got physical climate controls there, as well as a little finger rest, so you can easily finger your way to a warmer climate on the move. Got a wireless charger, loads of storage. You won't be able to see that, but that goes to a 12-volt socket in the bowels of the car. You've got two USB-Cs under here, and a little storage space there, and also there, and that geography teacher material is in the door bins as well. Now, this light leather is very nice, and these massage seats, very, very comfortable, but there is some staining and marking on this leather already, so just be a little bit careful about that. Another thing worth mentioning is the solar bay sunroof. So yeah, it does look a bit cataracty and milky out there, but if I use the switch there, look, it can actually go fully opaque, and it's got two halves as well. You're not going to be able to see this, but in the rear it's got a separate bit as well, so you can have the sun beaming in on your kids but not on you, or vice versa. Now, just in case you thought the cabin was too sensible, not French enough, there's a random chicken in the windscreen. Now, I've done that entire piece of the camera while sitting in a child seat, so I'm going to get one of them out and show you what rear seat legroom is like. Exciting stuff, isn't it, here? Ooh. Now, the old Scenic might be deader than my diet plans, but its rear seat space kind of lives on. It doesn't have individual sliding rear seats like the ancient Scenic, but look how wide that door opens. That makes getting children and child seats in ridiculously simple compared to most cars. As a 6'3" idiot, I fit in terms of knee room and headroom, even with the sunroof, and because it has got that photochromatic stuff, whatever the word is, it doesn't need a shutter blind, which eats into headroom loads when you've got one of those. So that's good. The only thing is my feet don't really fit under the seat very well at all. If I had my boots on, they wouldn't be fitting. That is as low as it will go, which is how I tend to sit. It's just a bit of a disappointment, and that's because it's got high floor, because it's got batteries in it. But otherwise, really good back here. I've got two USB-Cs down there, pockets there, felt-lined rear door bins, whoop whoop, some ambient lighting there. But the big thing for me is what Renault rather unhumbly calls the ingenious center armrest. And you think, yes, that's cool, it's got cup holders, but wait, if you lift this up, the cup holders twiddle out, and they've got phone and tablet holders in them. So you can either have them both out and have an iPad for both of your back children, or if your kids go to private school, you can have an iPad each, facing them at 45 degrees. So yeah, whatever school your kids go to, there's an iPad/tablet solution for them. And also, you've got two USB-Cs here as well, so they can charge both of their iPads as you take them on your 3 times a year ski trip. Whatever, it's practical back here. It's got cup holders as well. It's one of the best rear seat spaces for families that I've seen in a car for ages. It's just a little bit of a shame you haven't got any recline or slide action, but that default angle is pretty comfy. I could fall asleep in here, but I'm not going to, because I think I've got more to do. The Scenic also leads the class, I would say, in terms of flat floorness in the back. Look at that. That is as flat as it gets. Actually, I should have said 5-day-old Coke that I've accidentally left out after getting a regretful Domino's and crying myself to sleep over a meat feast. Oh, one other thing about the side of the car, look at the door handles. When you get close to it, oh, hello, you can open them. But if they're shut, you can actually push that in and open it anyway, so you don't get into that weird state of door handle confusion. Right, that was a very quick look at the Renault Scenic and its cabin and its electricity and its boot and all that good stuff. I've only just taken delivery of this car yesterday, and in a couple of days I'm going to take it for a bit of a road trip up to Birmingham, I think. Not particularly exciting. So I'm going to check in after that with my driving impressions and my conclusion once I've done some more miles in it and see what efficiency I get, what it's like on motorways and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'll just cut that in now. You don't have to wait 3 days. You're a lucky person. You also don't have to go to Birmingham. Right, you join me several days later at 6:30 in the morning. I've got to drive to Birmingham, well, Oldbury to be specific, and I'm going to take the Scenic. Now, I've charged this up to 94% and it's saying 320 miles of range. So I'm going to talk about the driving now, but after I've done about 300 miles today, I'm going to come back and tell you what I think of the claimed range of this car, which is obviously 370 miles. But anyway, let's get on with it. Now, to put it in gear, you've actually got a column shifter up here, which is quite nice. I like that. That mirror has just actually moved, so I can't see the curb. And with massive 20-inch wheels on this, I have slightly got the fear of curbing it, because they're very pretty wheels as well. But anyway, otherwise, visibility out of this, it's fine out the front. In fact, I'd say it's excellent out the front. You have a windscreen, that's always helpful, but it's actually a decent size and the pillars aren't too thick here. But out the back corners, it's not so great. And in general, I would say this car is one of the more comfortable EVs I've driven in terms of suspension and ride comfort. Despite those massive dinner plate wheels, this, I would say, is bested in comfort only by the Skoda Enyaq. That's probably my pinnacle of EV SUV comfort in this sort of price range. Now, I am now being blinded by the sun, but there is one ergonomic niggle that I found with this car, and that is, although the digital dashboard is incredibly clear, sharp, the graphics are nice, and it changes depending on the driving mode, which you change by pressing this multi-sense button down here, sometimes the steering wheel is blocking the actual speedo element of it. Now, I've read a few other people have had this problem. I think they just need to readjust the graphics and put it slightly more kind of, I don't know, visibly on the dashboard, because I have to like peer under the steering wheel in my driving position to see how fast I'm going, which is, I think, suboptimal, I would call that, as a car journalist. But otherwise, it's not sports car fast either, but I quite like that. I like a family SUV that's not trying to get sub 5 seconds 0 to 60 times. It's already bogging at me because I'm speeding. So yeah, 0 to 60, I think it's like 7 point something in this one, 220 horsepower. It's not tuned for maximum attack, and even if you put it in sport mode, the dashboard will go red and it all looks very pretty, or it's orange, sorry. But you still got lots of mid-range punch, typical of an EV. So it's not going to feel slow, it's just you're not going to impress all your friends with launch control starts and things like that. And frankly, if you're doing launch control starts in a family EV, you probably haven't got many friends. But yeah, let's talk about handling. I'm going to get to a roundabout. I'm just going to press this button twice down here to turn off the speed limit warning. I like that they've done that, so you don't have to go through menus to turn off the annoying bongs and buzzes and lane keep assist. There's just one button. But anyway, roundabout. How does it handle? Is it a sports car? No. Is it a slightly roly-poly French thing? Yeah. Do I like that? Also, yeah. Yeah. It's tuned for comfort. It's tuned for not being exciting, but I'm absolutely fine with that, because just when you're wafting, it's going to be a very comfortable thing. But anyway, it is good to drive. It's not exciting to drive. I like the comfort aspect of it. The visibility is good. The only foible, really, speedo. Can't always see it unless I'm like peering a little bit. But anyway, that's all boring. I've been getting, efficiency-wise, I said that's boring, this is boring. Efficiency-wise, I've been getting about 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour, which is currently giving me a range of 310, 320 miles. But most of my driving so far, I've done about 60 miles in this car, has been around kind of 30, 40, 50 limits. How is it going to tank the economy when I get up to 70, dare I say it, 71 on the motorway? Well, I'm going to do a whole day of that, so I'm going to cut now, and we'll come back later once I've done a load of miles on the motorway in this car to talk about real world range. God damn, my life is exciting. I've been having a migraine this morning already, which is why I've got the sunglasses. I was going to stick them on, but I thought I'd save you from Saddam Harodi. I've come to claim your oil fields. It's a bit like that, isn't it? But anyway, we'll be back in a minute to talk about efficiency. See you in a second. Oh my God, it's quiet though. This is a very quiet bit of new tarmac, actually. I'm doing 52 miles an hour and I could whisper to you. I'll do this again on motorway and see if it's any good on that noisy bit of the M25. Actually, just before we get to the Hell's Roundabout is the M25, I should point out another few things about this. And I think that's that all of them get adaptive cruise control. Even the basic techno ones are really well equipped. You just miss a few things like wheels and the sunroof and stuff like that. Also, you can adjust the regenerative braking using the paddle here, so you can get to a one pedal driving mode. Now, I've heard some people whinging that if you have no regen, the brake pedal can be a bit inconsistent. I've not really found that, at least in this one. I don't think it's too bad for an EV. Yes, it doesn't feel like you're using Porsche 911 GT3 brakes in terms of consistency, but I don't think there's too much awkward crossover between regenerative braking and the actual physical brakes. So yeah, in the Tim Rodey review, I'm going to say that's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. Let's go and join the hordes of commuters. I keep saying hordes, it's because I'm playing Doom 2016 at the moment. I missed out on it first time around, and all I can think about is ripping the heads off demons and things. If only I could do that with my own demons. Why can't I stop eating Haribo? Okay, M25 time. We're not actually on the really crappy bit of the M25, because at the moment that's a 50 limit mostly, but I am doing slightly north of 70 miles an hour, only ever so slightly. And actually, it's a reasonably refined cabin. There's lots of acoustic glass in the cabin to keep the outside noise out. And I can't really hear any wind noise off the mirrors. And there's not even that much tyre roll. Okay, crappy surface. Yeah, that's about normal, to be honest. But the thing I can hear the most is all the other cars and all the other vans. So yeah, this is a very refined cabin. I'm quite liking this car. It feels to me a bit of a cliche. It's doing what French cars should do. Be comfortable, have interesting interiors, lots of cloth and cool materials, and not trying to be all big-wheeled and sporty. Well, it is big-wheeled, but it's not sporty. Yeah, there's a few thumps here and there, but I would say this is pretty much well above average for an EV costing 45 grand in terms of ride comfort and refinement. Interesting. Anyway, slow to 60 because the traffic jam around the A3 has already started. Yes. Okay, I've just finished my trek to Birmingham, so I've done about 140, 150 miles in the Scenic, and my average economy on the electricity is 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour. It was 3.3, 3.4 for most of that journey, but I put the aircon on and I've gone a little bit faster than perhaps I should just to get here quicker. So I think that's okay. That gives you a real world range of, I think, about 240, 250 miles at 80 miles an hour. Well, sorry, 70 miles an hour at motorway speeds. So yeah, I think if you drive this normally, do a mix of journeys, you're going to get about 320 miles to a charge. I think that's pretty good. I think that's all right, and especially considering this costs 47 grand, there are a lot more expensive EVs that can go less far on a charge. So I guess a combination of aerodynamics, lightness, and probably this grey cloth interior means it's all right in terms of economy. In fact, it's pretty good. But anyway, I'm going to go to McDonald's and I'm going to film a conclusion, so I'll see you in a second. Oh, I should also point out, I've forgotten to mention, you've got a little electric rear view mirror here as well. I don't like them because it's a camera view and then your eyes have to refocus when you look up there. But whatever, I'm going to refocus my eyes on ash brown. Oh, did I mention that you can choose the noise this car makes to warn pedestrians of your imminent arrival? And some of them have been recorded by Jean-Michel Jarre, which is excellent. That's very, very French. I seem to remember he played up against the pyramids at the turn of the millennium because he has no ego whatsoever. 360 camera, very helpful. Also standard, I think. Right, I've come to the end of my time with the Renault Scenic, and I have to say, I've done about 400 miles in it in 5 days. And I've been really impressed with it. Normally, I don't get too excited about big electric SUVs, but this just does everything ever so slightly differently, slightly quirky, slightly French, I guess. But usually that's sometimes an excuse for being a bit shit, and this isn't. It's a very good car. I'm going to give it 9 Tim Rodys out of 10 because I think in terms of real world value versus driving range, it scores really highly. Yes, you're not going to get 370 miles in the real world, but I think about 260, 270 miles of tanking along at more than the motorway speed limit has really impressed me. And if you drive it more normally, you are going to get more than 300, 310 miles on a charge. But yeah, I love the interior quality. I love the cloth. I love the infotainment. I even like the way it looks. So I don't normally comment on the way cars look. So yes, it is one of my favorite EVs. It's up there with the Enyaq in terms of comfort. and slightly above it in terms of driving range as well. So yeah, if you're in the market for a sensible family electric SUV, you could do far, far worse than your new Renault Scenic. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, go down to the comments, leave me the French word for geography teacher, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you very soon when I won't be standing in my beautiful vineyard that I've owned for generations of my family, or something like that. I haven't. I just park here. But everyone on Instagram, when I put up photos of this vineyard, genuinely believes I own it. I don't. It's got the ugliest building in the world on it, which looks like a certain place in Poland that the Germans used to use. But anyway, enough of that.